Baroque, Downs, Rolla, Kensington,
Wichita,
Lindsborg, Russell, Salina, Winfield,
the Prairie Sunflower Parish, Logan, Long Island, Phillipsburg,
Bristol Hill United Methodist Church in Johnson County, Kansas, Jewell County United Methodist Parish in the Jewell County, Kansas.
These are all small towns that I've lived in Kansas, and I've lived in others too. I can't just think of them right now, but they have a lot in common with towns I've lived in here in Nebraska. The church life, the rural communities.
And what we've discovered is that our two states and the three conferences that are represented are a lot more common than they are different. Given that we've experienced a little time in eastern Pennsylvania, we found that there's a Midwest culture that we all share in common. Hard work, community, and connections. And plus we have just a passion for making disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of our world.
We've also found that the conferences are each like a family. Families who share their joys and their struggles together. Families who can laugh together and cry together.
Before returning to Nebraska, I spent 4 years as a youth director in Wichita, Kansas. I feel that our three conferences are alike in many ways. We all right now need to rethink church and especially find ways that we can reach the younger generations and also figure out ways that we can develop the new great giving generation.
Whether you're looking at a feedlot or a parking lot, people are really the same. They have the same sorrows, the same joys, and it's really having open hearts, open minds, and open doors and meeting people where they're at, no matter what situation or surroundings they find themselves in.
One of the differences that we have between our three conferences, I think, is just some deeply held assumptions, probably practices and behaviors. And it might be that we won't discover what those are until we find ourselves in new connections and new relationships. And the way we move forward is to just trust that God is at work in our lives and in us as a community, that we might be patient, we might seek to find the common good and connect with one another and be open to God working in our lives and our community.
I think we just need to keep an open mind about the possibilities. Anytime you have a transition happening, that brings new opportunities for thinking outside the box, for new ways of ministry. I also think there might be some really neat things that the towns along the Kansas-Nebraska border might be able to do together that they couldn't do before as separate conferences.
I map quested the other day the distance between Baxter Springs, Kansas, which is in the southeast corner of Kansas, and Chadron, which is in the northwest corner of Nebraska, and found it was around 800 miles and about 12 hours of driving time. So I guess my advice would be to figure out some kind of a way in the midst of what could be some very vast open space to keep us connected. And I don't know exactly how that works. Maybe we should have one gigantic pulpit exchange. That could be a challenge, but just to get to know each other better across those wide differences, I think we need to stay connected somehow.
One piece of advice that I would give United Methodists as we look toward what it means to become one area together is to worship together, to learn together, to fellowship together, to break bread together. For it is in these times where we join together our lives, where we share and learn about how it is we can live truly as one community. We can find ways to do this through educational events, through joint clergy session that's coming up in 2012, through the opportunity to simply get to know one another, to know the stranger among us and welcome with open arms.
To the transition team, I would just say thank you for guiding us and for being so intentional about the decisions that you were making. I know that you've had a hard job, and I know that no answer seems like the right answer at times, and I do believe that this is possible, what you've called us to do, and I hope you keep on and know we're going to be anxious, and some of us won't agree, but ultimately if this is the way that you believe God is calling us to go, and the vote goes that way, that we will follow you. I am very hopeful that as we look to being one Episcopal area, that we would be hopeful in terms of the new energy and the new life that we could embrace as one area. And one of my favorite sayings is, "The best is yet to come," and I do believe that.